Hello and welcome back finally to my Formula 1 2020 fantasy prediction season. My name is Alex Does F1 Stuff and today is round number 9 in Austria. So I am a small, tiny, wee bit behind the actual calendar, but no worries, I will catch up. I'll probably do maybe one a week, maybe one whenever I make one, rather than sticking it to a weekend. I'll just pop it out whenever it's ready. But anyway, for those that haven't seen this series, I'll pop a lot of cards in the corner and probably maybe in the description to the entire playlist from round number 1 in Melbourne. The whole idea and premise of this is to recreate what would have been the 2020 season had Rona not happened, with a bunch of maths based off of the 2019 season. So if you want to go and see how I've created all of my custom Excel tables and gone about working out all of this, there is a maths video related to that. There is also a making of video, so going from a blank Excel page to the finished video that you're currently watching. That's about a 24-ish minute long video from the start to finishing process, the whole like editing, animating, creating the tables and etc. And I think that's about it. But I will just say this now before I forget at the end of the video, there are some changes coming to this series after this round. So this round will still follow exactly the same premise of all the other ones before it, but as of round number 10 in Britain, there will be some changes, but that's all to do with the maths. The layout of it will still be exactly the same. It will still run exactly the same, just the maths is getting a little bit more complicated and a little bit more realistic and changeable. But without further ado, getting all of that garbage and gobble out the way, we will jump straight on into practice for round number 9 in Austria. It is Max Verstappen who kicks off the Austrian Grand Prix weekend in P1 for practice 1 ahead of Bottas and Hamilton. Ricciardo sits P4 for Renault, 2/10ths clear of Gasly and Sainz. The two Ferraris are down in 7th and 8th with Perez just behind them. Russell is P11, sandwiched between the two Haas cars with Kvyat in 13th place. Ocon is 1.1 seconds off of Ricciardo's pace in 14th with Stroll 15th. Then comes Norris, the two Alfa Romeo cars, Albon and Latifi. But in practice 2, it's Valtteri Bottas who fights his way to P1, just under a 10th clear from Max Verstappen with Leclerc 3rd. Perez is just 1,000th behind in 4th, with Sainz, Gasly and Hamilton all behind. Raikkonen made it into the top 10 whilst Ricciardo sits between the two Haas cars in 10th. Kvyat is 12th with Giovinazzi 13th ahead of Ocon. Vettel is all the way down in 15th place with Russell now 16th, with Norris, Stroll, Albon and Latifi rounding off the field. The ding-dong battle at the top continues into practice 3 as Verstappen gets back in front of Bottas with Leclerc 3rd once more. Hamilton is again 4th with Perez 5th. Vettel is now 6th ahead of Sainz, Gasly, Ricciardo and Giovinazzi, who makes it into the top 10. Stroll, Norris, Kvyat, Ocon and Raikkonen are all split by just a 10.5 for 11th place, with Grosjean, Russell, Albon, Magnussen and Latifi at the back of the pack. So leaving practice, it's again a 2-horse race between Verstappen and Bottas, which is why I want to implement some small changes to the maths as of next round to hopefully try and spice it up. But we will move on into qualifying now and get started with Q1. It is Max Verstappen who leads the two Mercedes with Perez, Ricciardo, Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly, Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Stroll and Raikkonen all making it into Q2, with Ocon and Norris just making it in, with Vettel P15, half a 10th in front of Magnussen, who is the first to be knocked out of Q1, with Russell, the two AlphaTauris and Latifi also being knocked out. Verstappen continues his good form into Q2, leading Bottas, Leclerc and Hamilton with Perez 5th, Gasly 6th and Raikkonen 7th. Vettel again just makes it into Q3 in 8th place ahead of Ricciardo and Giovinazzi. Ocon was 2/10ths off of a Q3 slot ahead of Grosjean, Stroll and the two McLarens, who were also knocked out in Q2. Can Valtteri Bottas retake his top spot after losing it last round and start another streak? No, he cannot. It is Max Verstappen who takes his second pole position in a row, with Leclerc a season best 3rd ahead of Hamilton. Perez is 5th for Racing Point, Vettel could only manage 6th ahead of Raikkonen and Ricciardo. Giovinazzi completes the Alfa Romeo sandwich with Gasly in the Red Bull rounding off the field. As we take a look at the starting grid now, Perez has gained a mammoth 11 places from last year, with Vettel and Ricciardo also gaining significantly, but the biggest losers this round though are Norris and Magnussen, who both lost 8 and 11 places respectively. So judging by the form of the Red Bull in Austria for the past 2 years, it is looking very good for Max Verstappen. He's won the past 2 years at this track, he's on pole position now, so basically he's got it all to lose. He has it all to lose this time out. Can Valtteri Bottas clinch a victory, or can Hamilton maintain his winning streak? It is Charles Leclerc who comes away with his second win of the season in Scarlet and first since Bahrain. Hamilton made it onto the podium from P4 on the grid, with Vettel making it a Ferrari 1-3. Kvyat had an insane race from 19th on the grid all the way to P4, his best finish of the year so far. Gasly is 5th for Red Bull, with Raikkonen, Ricciardo and Sainz all in the points. Albon makes it AlphaTauri's first double points finish of the year, with Perez finishing P10 for the last points position. Ocon was just 3 seconds off of the points in 11th place, ahead of Magnussen, Norris, Stroll and Latifi, with the randomly selected non-finishers being Verstappen, his first retirement of the year, Giovinazzi, Russell, Bottas, unfortunately his second of the year, and finally Grosjean. But as we take a look at the fastest laps around the Red Bull ring, it was Max Verstappen who took this by nearly a second from Daniel Ricciardo, but as he failed to finish the race and was therefore outside of the top 10, he will not be scoring the extra point. So let's have a look at what effect Austria has had on the Drivers' Championships. We will move to their gains, as the top 2 gain nothing, as all the points are evenly spread out among the rest of the field. However, there is a lot of shuffling to go through this round, as Hamilton moves up to 1st in the Drivers' Championship, with Kvyat leaping from 16th to 10th. Raikkonen also claws up a few places himself, as Ricciardo clears Russell at the bottom for P18. But for the first time this year, Hamilton now leads the championship by 11 points. Leclerc is just 1 point behind Bottas now in 4th, as Vettel is a huge 45 points off of his teammate, with Gasly just 7 points behind him. Stroll is still best of the rest, 26 points down on the lead group, who has a 12-strong car group covered by just 35 points. Taking a look at the constructors though, it is Ferrari who comes away with more than double anybody else, with 40, to Mercedes 18, AlphaTauri's 12, Red Bull's 10, Alfa Romeo's 8, Renault's 6, McLaren's 4 and Racing Point's solitary 1. But once again, like France, there are no shuffles in the Constructors' Championship, as Mercedes extend their lead even with just one car finishing to 64 points from Red Bull, who now have Ferrari on the exact same points, 197. Racing Point are still best of the rest, 136 points back from Ferrari, as Haas, McLaren, the 2 Alpha cars and Renault are all within 31 points, as Williams are still at the bottom on 8. And there we have it, the end of the Austrian Grand Prix weekend. We finally had a change of leadership at the top for the drivers, as Mercedes' lead in the Constructors extends. Kvyat had an incredible race himself. P4, not a career best, he's had a podium in the Red Bull, but a best definitely for this season. But as I mentioned in the start, there are going to be a few changes coming ahead for the British Grand Prix round number 10. I will probably do a separate video just explaining the changes, so I don't have to explain them in one of these videos, so I don't bog it all down. But I think that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching that quick little video there, and I will catch you in the next one with whatever I decide to make and whenever I decide to make it. I'll see you guys then.